Today I'm talking about the one thing that is most impactful in setting you free from your anxieties, your fears, and those same old repeating patterns that are causing self-sabotage in your life. It's so incredibly impactful, but most people don't even know that it's an issue with themselves and they don't know how to address it. I'm Ketra Thompson, and I'm a certified master hypnotist and a life recovery coach. So join me today as we talk about the one most impactful thing that you can address in your life so that you can create lasting healing and change. Before we jump in, be sure to hit like and subscribe so you can be notified every time I post a new video. And also, there is a link in the description below that allows for you to set up a totally free one-time consultation if you would like to look into your options to work with me. So let's talk for just a minute on what you might be going through and experiencing on a daily basis. Maybe you've been in a toxic relationship and now you find yourself feeling absolutely exhausted and confused. Maybe you're on anti-anxiety meds, which isn't always a bad thing, don't get me wrong, but maybe it's just keeping you from looking at this issue of addressing what's underneath it. And maybe you're on sleep meds, maybe you're not sleeping well and so you have to take something to sleep, which also isn't always an awful thing, but if it's keeping you from looking at what's driving that, that can be a little problematic. Maybe you're drinking coffee every morning to wake yourself back up after the sleeping pills, and you have this false energy to force yourself to get through the day, but you really aren't feeling good. You really aren't feeling full of energy and good about your day, so you have to have these things to help you relax or sleep or wake up. Maybe every day feels like you're on edge, like you are just waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it feels like something bad is always just right around the corner. Maybe you're so full of anxiety and stress on a regular basis that you hardly remember what life is like without it, but you can't seem to pinpoint what that thing is that's creating this stress and anxiety inside of you. Maybe you feel like you're just not enough. And then maybe you feel all that guilt and shame over not being perfect. Maybe you're mentally beating yourself up for all those mistakes that people make that are totally normal, that you would excuse in other people, but you're not excusing them in yourself. You're mentally beating yourself up over it. And then you just feel like that shame keeps you paralyzed. Maybe you think deep down that there's just something broken or wrong with you. Maybe you're so afraid that you keep making the same mistakes and creating these same repeat patterns in your life, but you don't know what to do about it. You don't even know why you're doing it. So you're probably wondering, what is at the heart of all this stuff? What's driving it? And I'm going to tell you. What's driving it is unhealed, unprocessed trauma. And the word trauma can be really confusing. You might even think that you had a totally normal or fairly normal upbringing and that you didn't have childhood trauma. Or you might just think that trauma refers to some kind of physical injury that someone sustains. The truth is, we all have some level of trauma. Even people with a great upbringing clearly have less trauma than someone with a very traumatic upbringing, but we all have some levels of trauma, and they do need to be processed and integrated properly. Emotional trauma can have lots of physical side effects. It can be this thing that hinders us for our entire lifetime if we don't deal with it properly. When we were children, we desperately needed good, strong, safe attachment bonds, and we also needed patient coaching from our parents. The kind of teaching where they take their time to explain those teachable moments so that we can become the best version of ourselves and we can learn those lessons in a loving, caring way. But if those needs aren't met, then we are just left to create our own conclusions, assign our own meaning, and determine what we should be learning or what we should have learned from a situation all on our own, without any discernment, without any adult insight. So these conclusions are what becomes our belief system. It actually becomes the blueprint written in our subconscious mind that then drives our belief system that runs our life, sometimes forever. Now you add what we didn't get in childhood, maybe the teachable moments, or maybe we were neglected, or maybe we had hurts and wounds that weren't attended to emotionally. And then you add to that the rest of life, like a toxic relationship, a devastating loss. And there just becomes layers of trauma that more belief systems get created, but it's more like they're already confirming what we already believed. That suspicion that we weren't enough gets confirmed when we haven't gotten the healing around the original belief system in the first place, when we grow and more things just happen in life. So how does it work, and how does it actually help to heal this trauma? Well, our brains are like a computer system. Our subconscious mind is like that computer system that is just running our life. It is programmed and it has its agenda. And the subconscious mind is really the driving factor. The conscious mind, we go into our conscious mind when we're doing a math problem or something, or we're trying to figure things out, but it doesn't have a lot of capacity. So the subconscious mind is running over 95% of everything we think, feel, and do, and really guiding us into those decisions that we're making that truly affect our life. So I've said this before, but it's always worth repeating. The subconscious mind is like a blank slate pretty much when you're born. And then you're walking around those first 7 years of life and you are assigning meaning to everything you hear and see and experience. And you're assigning meaning with little to no discernment at all. Then you use that meaning to write a blueprint in your subconscious mind that will be the map for the rest of your life. It will be that computer system that's driving everything you think, feel, and do. Now, somewhere between the ages of 7 and 8, we get what's called the critical factor. That is this comparing mechanism that goes in between our conscious mind and subconscious mind and kind of locks down our subconscious mind so that we have a consistent personality and belief system, and it doesn't let changes happen easily. It guards that information. And so it's very difficult to change our belief system that's written in our subconscious mind on our own because it's protected very well. The one way we have access to that part of our belief system into our adulthood is through hypnosis. So if you want to change your thoughts, your behaviors, and even your outlook on life in a real sustainable way, you have to be able to access your subconscious mind. I do this all the time for my clients, and I do it with a customized hypnotherapy program that addresses the root cause of the issue. We can't ignore the root cause and just keep trying to layer on new beliefs on top of it because it's what's underneath that's driving it. And so it's incredibly important that we get back to the root cause so you can reframe your entire belief system around that. So you can actually get to the point of living your life in a way that you want, from a place of empowerment, a place of clarity, and being driven by a belief system that you choose, not what someone else chooses for you. All of this requires you being willing to invest in yourself and your own growth, and you feeling strong enough that you've had enough. You don't want to do it this old way anymore. You don't want to live your life the way that you've been living it, repeating those same patterns, getting into those toxic relationships, feeling hurt and wounded and drained and tired and anxious and full of stress and taking that pill to sleep and drinking that coffee to wake up and just feeling like you're barely getting through your days. All of this requires a conscious effort on your part to really decide what you truly need, what you truly want, and that you're willing to do what it takes to make that happen in your life. It requires you to take action. So when you're ready to finally break free from the cycle, get your confidence back, rediscover the truest version of yourself, then set up that consultation call. Again, that link is in the description. I would love to talk to you about how this works, how it could be customized and personalized just for you and your situation, because there's nothing better than me seeing clients absolutely blossom having the life that they want, that they've dreamed of, maybe even that they knew they needed to make a change and they'd never dreamed of, a life better than they've dreamed of. Sometimes it's hard to even imagine having a different or better life when you haven't had it before. But that's why it's important to have a guide, to have someone who can help you through the process, because sometimes when you're in the fog, you just can't see clearly. But if someone else can see clearly and help you get to that place where you're headed, it's so much easier. Hypnotherapy is incredibly rapid, incredibly transformative, and a permanent change. It's not like one of those things that you talk about doing, you think about doing, and the change never happens. It's very impactful. So remember, when you change yourself, you change the world. You change your relationships with everyone around you, how they see you, how they treat you, and you open up the possibility to your life being something that you may have never dreamed of before. So until next time, curate a life by your own design.